Hi, guys. So today's lesson has to do with learning how to write a good narrative. So, our target for today is that you can describe the purpose of a narrative and how it develops using effective techniques like detail and sequence of events. What we want to do is really focus on what can you do to write a good narrative. So, when you think about that, we are going to think about this question all week because we'll be writing narratives in the form of journal entries. So, in the next 2 days, we're going to learn and read about what a journal entry should look like when we create a story. So, I want you to think about this. I'm going to open a new tab here, lesson. And as we go through it, let's think about what are some elements of a good narrative. So as we think about this, we are going to look at those elements. What are some things I really can do to make my narrative a good one? So, what is a narrative in the first place? A narrative is the story of real or imagined experiences. A personal narrative is retelling an experience from your life, while a fictional narrative is telling a made up story. Think of those science fiction movies, Harry Potter, all those that we know are not true. So, some of those elements that we need to have for a narrative one of them is setting. So the setting is where the narrative takes place. So we think about a geographical location, like a physical location or a historical time period. The setting always answers the question where and when. For the purpose of the writing you'll be doing this week, you need to think about the historical time because your journal entries will be going through every single war of the Revolutionary War as a soldier. So in that case, you will talk about where you at, what it may look like, who is fighting. Well, that's for character, but with the site, there are many elements like when they were in Philadelphia or when they were crossing the Delaware, you were in a boat. So those are things that you need to make sure that you have those elements in your writing for your journal entries. We need to make sure that you have settings. So let's practice about that. What do you think is the setting of this photo? Think the when and the where. Well, if you've seen the movie, you know that this is Titanic. And this is actually on a boat, on a cruise boat, very fancy. It looks very crowded. So you know you're in a restaurant of some sort because there are tables, there is drinks. So you know that you are in a restaurant and the way they're looking, there might be a show happening. So that is an important part of that setting. So another important part of us going through the elements of a narrative is characters. A character is a person that is depicted in a narrative. There are two types of characters: the protagonist, or the leading character, or one of the main characters of a narrative. In this case, it will be your soldier. He is the main character, or she. Well, it has to be a he. There was no women fighting then. And the antagonist, the leading character who actively opposes or is hostile towards the protagonist or is the adversary. So if you are a soldier in a patriot soldier, then most likely the British are your antagonists or the other way around. So your favorite antagonist, who is your favorite antagonist? Think about this. Now the picture you're looking at is from The Wizard of Oz, right? So think about who is a bad guy who is always like ruining things for you in a story. So with that thought, what we want to do is really focus on those two parts for now: setting and characters. Now, as you progress in the lesson, what I want you to do is I want you to click on the model journal book and watch. Now, you're going to watch and stop at minute 5 with 2 seconds. So start watching it and stop it at 5 with 2 seconds. After you do the video, which is a book, a really nice book about a narrative and journal entries, I want you to think about the story elements. Who are the characters? What is the setting? And what is the plot or the storyline? We'll talk a little more about that next time. So let's remember that plot is the structure stories have, which show you kind of many small problems that lead to a climax or the point, the most important point of the story. So think out loud about the small problems in the mentor text used, so the model of journal book here at the top, and explain. And let's write about a day in your life. So, following that model, let's write a day in your life, naming the date, or if it's fake, kind of making up the date, and work through it, making sure that at least one character that you have at least one character, a setting, or multiple settings, because the character can move around, or can be different time periods, um, and a story is told. So we need to make sure that. So your journal entry will be at least one paragraph for today. You have uh, an assignment in Google Classroom under your writing tab. When you open it, you will see that you have a space for day 1, which is today, to write your journal entry. What you need to understand is, so it always says that, and then it tells you to make sure that since it's only one paragraph, one journal entry, that you check for capitalization, understanding, punctuation, and spelling. Then you're going to write your journal entry right here where it says type your entry here. Make sure that you are following the rubric. You have a rubric right there. So make sure that you are following it. Once you do that, you should be able to finish for the day. Only one paragraph with a story of your own. We're not yet writing about the soldiers, but we are practicing setting and character. So make sure that your new story, that your journal entry has a setting and a character that develops into a story. It can be any fictional or non fictional. However, it has to be in the form of a journal entry. Good luck.